Here, look. So I just wanted to say, first of all, thanks to all the guests for being here today. It was really illuminating hearing your contributions and for having this discussion here this morning. I suppose, first of all, I just want to say thanks, Cara, for all of your advocacy and campaigning, and your protest, I think, really highlighted this to so many people in the corridors of power and here in Leinster House as well. But it's so important that action is taken and that there isn't just empty words. Look, I think I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's unacceptable what is happening. There's a commitment in the Disability Act that people are entitled to an assessment of need within 6 months. Therefore, the government is presiding over a backlog that is not only damaging but also is illegal. And it is shocking that there are 15,000 people, over 15,000 people, waiting for assessments of need presently. In this country, and that is set to rise to 25,000 by the end of the year. These aren't just statistics, these are individuals that will have long-term effects from this, families that are being affected, and we absolutely do need to take action, take this seriously, and as you say, it is a national emergency and an embarrassment internationally as well for Ireland. And the fact that you've said that 37 psychologists have reached out to you unsolicited, offering their support, and that these people have not been asked to help. So I guess just in terms of my questions, and more so for the record, I suppose to Cara and to Mark, I mean, can you just confirm, I suppose, that that when you met the Taoiseach, that he did say that they did not reach out to any professional providers to assist with this? Can you just confirm that? Did he give any commitment that would take place in the future? Did he commit to any follow-up engagement or promises with you? And also, I just wanted to know if you've had much engagement with the Minister herself and her department, and if you found that they've listened to you, in relation to your campaign.
I can confirm that for you, and I can also confirm that he did not make any other further promises during the meeting, and that he could not declare this as a national emergency, and that I told them that that's what needs to be done because there's children being permanently damaged. And while I don't doubt that he might want to do something with this for a second, while I might not doubt his sincerity, and I know that he's a good person, but unfortunately he wasn't able to commit to anything, and he wasn't able to commit to making change. And he openly said that the HSE is not really in the place to follow the law right now. And I think that it's just crazy that he does not see this as a national disgrace, and that he just isn't able to see that this is like the Titanic, and that by the end of the year, the numbers are going to rise by over 10,000 in less than 7 months by the end of the year. And that I told him that in the meeting, and that this is going down like a lead balloon, and that it's only going down one way, and that he needs to do something about this before not only is this just a national crisis, but an international embarrassment. And he couldn't recognise the fact that, look, we need to do something about this here. And I told him that it was a national disgrace, and he just kind of bluffed it off, and he just said, he just kind of started going on about statistics and figures and this number and that number, but there was no action confirmed, and he couldn't say it was a national disgrace, and he didn't say he was going to do anything about the issue, which determines me to keep on fighting for those who cannot fight back for themselves. And I've received support from so many TDs, senators, ministers, and I've received so much support from the public, and everyone says I'm right. Even the Taoiseachs themselves, they say that I'm all right, and that it's just getting change is the big problem here, and that I get on good with all of them, and that they all say I'm in the right to be doing this, but that it's unfortunate that I have to be up here doing this, with my protest 3 weeks ago, because the government just aren't able to do the job that they're being paid to do, and that I'm going to keep on protesting and fighting until I get what I want, and until those children who are being permanently damaged can finally get the services and the assessments and needs that they deserve.
I just come in for 20 seconds there. Just two things stood out for me when he said that, Cara, it's only a technical breach of the law. As Cara said in her open statement, that's some moment. He doesn't see this as a big deal at all. So when the Taoiseach of the country is not seeing this as a big deal, that's your problem. I think every deputy in this house knows this problem. He seems to be on his own on this one. The second thing is this. Cara asked him a very simple question. She said to him, I've spoken to 3 different Taoiseach. including yourself, and you said you were going to do this and do that. You never did a thing. Why is what you're telling me today different? And the answer to that question was, because we have a subcommittee now set up on disability. That was the answer. And I said to him, but sure, that was a year ago that was set up. What could that, and then he, that was the answer. That's why, so even though he has a document saying we're going to 25,000, he has a subcommittee on disability with people who will tell him what he wants to hear. It was such a farce of an answer, sorry, but no, farce, no other word.
Thank you. Thanks.
You okay then?
Am I,
Yeah,
do I have
you
more time?
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Just a minute and a half.
A minute and a half, yeah. Just as a follow-up from that question, so your next steps, just in terms of your own advocacy, I mean, you've made it clear your asks today. I suppose one of them is you mentioned a task force as well. Just in terms of this committee here, in terms of us as public representatives, what do you want us to do after today in relation to this? I think you've already outlined that, but just for the record, what are you asking us to do as a committee following today, your presentation?
I suppose I've already mentioned in my speech at the end of the speech multiple things that I want them to do, and I suppose I'm very glad to be able to speak in front of the committee. That's the first step, is to be able to get my message out here, and I think that's very important to me, and that there are a couple of things that I have told the ministers and the TDs that I really, really want them to do. So I'm going to read those out here for you. So the first thing I ask for is that for the government to declare this as a national emergency for children. And I know, obviously, speaking in front of this committee is going to bring a lot of awareness to that, and that I'm going to keep on fighting until I get what I want, and that the government need to treat this like the house is on fire, and that by speaking in front of this committee, it's another opportunity for me to be able to speak in front of this committee and to get my message out there that this is a national crisis and that it needs to be treated. And the second thing I am asking for is to allocate immediate and additional funding to Cara's Fund, as that is the ultimate blueprint to success when Simon Harris directly credited me with €10 million worth of government funding before. The third thing I ask is that since recruitment and potential changes to the law are often cited as big barriers, I would be asking for the creation of a task force to examine and remove any possible obstacles that exist. And I think that that's a very important one, because I think that the government are making excuses for everything, and that needs to stop. And the final thing I would ask for is that a very specific financial allocation is made towards backlog of services, such as SLT, physio or OT, very similar to the October 2024 allocations of the €10 million given to Cara's Fund. And I think that that's very important. And I think that speaking in front of this committee, I'm going to get my message out here today, and that those are my asks, and that these are going to be my asks until I get what I want, and that I'm not going to be going away anytime soon. Because right now, that children in this country are being permanently damaged, and that needs to change.
Thanks, Cara. Thanks, Senator.